This homeowner has done some lovely embellishment. Patio dropping down into a reflection pool right in the middle of town. How pretty that is. This may have been reminiscent of the Swiss farmhouses that were a combination house and barn. In search of the interesting, this pretty house caught my attention. I think there's an interesting structure beside it, an older looking one. Notice the deep set lower windows. Sad to see these kind of buildings anywhere, although the architecture may be appreciated. Everything looks so squeaky clean and perfect, other than hints that people are actually here. It doesn't appear that there are, although I see people occasionally in their backyards or walking across the street, or cars drive by. Again's an older structure that seems to reflect that house barn concept. Purposely traveling on a street about a block or two up from Landstrasse, which is a main drag that goes through and from Sean to Vaduz. So everything is perfectly done. Notice this is clearly barn structure. Now what they do with the inside, I don't know. These little smart cars. Here another such complex of buildings. Modern, and yet an empty field across the street, which could be a park. Big sheets of material, I guess somewhere around 7 feet by about 17, 20 feet. Particle board. They're a pretty little building. A home in classic style. The lovely fountain. Not operating. One thing that's nice is the absence of barking dogs. Yeah, down this entire street that I've been walking since that tower and cemetery is undergoing a substantial infrastructure. Pretty classical old design. Oh, we appear to be leaving this residential area. Just giving us access to this street up here, I guess. Very un-Swiss-like. But pragmatic. It works. I think this whole area is being redone as an extension of the quality. Now as I pan from north to south, I think we're looking at Switzerland. I'm not sure it's easy to, until you've been here for a while, to grasp how small Liechtenstein is. Having gone in the wrong direction this morning, there's a surprise. From my hostel, which is over there somewhere, a few blocks. And I'm back up now, this pretty building that apparently has been undergoing some restoration. Classical building, I think. And next to the co-op, where there's also the bus stop I use. See what I mean? It goes all over the place. But maybe it's keeping track of its, maybe it's machine learning that space. Or maybe it already knows it. This is an interesting sculpture, for lack of a better term, because as you walk by, you can hear a lot of noise. Now when you go where those kids are standing, which I'll do in a moment, there's a water spout that spouts right over the top of their heads inside that device. So it's a water feature with dramatic sound. Where we are, you can see the eye. We're to the right of that, and actually we're right across the street from that. And I'll show you a complex of, I think they're museum and that sort of thing. To the right of the eye is 14, which is their national museum, Number 15 is the Parliament building. I don't know what this building is you're going to see in just a moment. This building, again, right across the street from the information, but to the right, says post, so maybe it's literally a post office. I think this sculpture symbolizes Liechtenstein and Switzerland in the sense of very high-tech, very polished, but also cold in that sense. The people are not cold, as friendly as can be. So this is the Liechtenstein Bank. On the hill above this is Schloss Vaduz, which is the prince's home, estate, castle, whatever you want to call it. And this may well have been originally one of the main large buildings of Vaduz, but it's their museum. This building is obviously an extension now of this building, or at least they're now connected. Whether they were originally, of course, no. But whether they originally, I don't know. This is the Parliament building. See that little tree in the park to the right? That looks like that area there. That looks rather tiny unless it goes deep into the mountainside, which it may do in that what looks like a wall. Then he walked a little farther and discovered that there's the rest of the Parliament building. This area may be a very lovely reflection of Liechtenstein, a mix of what we might call classic, probably 18th, 19th century architecture. That's the cathedral there, as you might imagine. This is called now a government building. I'm guessing it might have been the original Parliament. And then, of course, this Parliament building, which is very modern, yet using old materials, brick. Across the street from that, actually across the walkway or the square that we're on, is this somewhat curious park with, I guess, interesting lounge type seat structures and some park art, but curious, but in perhaps a modern way. This modern sculpture in front of the government building. What's lovely about this government building, which I saw, I think, in Zurich while I'm roaming around in some of the older neighborhoods, was how they painted the area or underneath the eaves. This is curious. I don't know what the German is on it, but it's put together well with iron and bolts. It may reflect, it says next generation. Again, I don't know what that means, unless it's somehow using the wood to emphasize a return to nature, which is an irony in this very modern architectural context. There's the other side of that bank building, plus this building, which is also a bank. Here you get a sense, and again, modern buildings in the background. It's a nice open space. Interesting curve to this surface. Guessing that this may allude to some earlier design of large buildings, since it would shirk snow well. I want to take a closer look at the detail of this architecture. It comes off very nicely. Not sure what it does for light. Embedded lights in the ground to illuminate these buildings, or at least this building. Interesting to look at the way they've treated this concrete in order to give it somewhat of an illusion to like classic European government buildings that used what look like big blocks of stone at about this level. There's a simple way to create design too. It's all done by the plasterer. Seeing this large slab of slabs in the front of the government building, you wonder if it alludes to some earlier time. Those little features there for holding a red carpet if necessary. Simple arch treatment. A little sensation that I had in Berlin of seeing novel little tidbits of architecture everywhere, like that building and whatever that structure is that appears to be part of it. Some modern sculptures in these niches. Again, begging the question, how old is this cathedral? This looks absolutely newly carved. That's fairly accurate. 2016 was apparently installed. My guess is there's no access allowed. I was wrong. This is the entry vestibule. Again, everything looks new. These look like wooden stations of the cross. Interesting.